Hi, Kathryn here from circleartdesigns. Today we will be working on our second project from the January Bargain Bead Box. Well, really, this is our third project, but I listed the first one as Project 1 and Project 1A. So let's get started. Just as the title says, this will be a painted moon bracelet. I am going to be using just a little bit of metal paints for each of the moon components on this bracelet. From the January Bargain Bead Box, we will be using 8mm frosted pressed glass star beads. These are really lovely. See what I mean? They're a frosted glass, but they have just that shimmer of blue in them. It's really, really beautiful. Trying to adjust the light so you can see it better. I think that was a fail. Next, we will be using a 15.5 times 20mm round moon and star links. I have to say, when I first saw these, I went, what in the world am I going to do with these? But I really like the way this bracelet turned out. Next, I pulled the 6mm check pressed glass star beads. This is crystal and steel blue luster. I tried to work these in several different ways, and I have a lot left over, so these will be used in something else as well. These are just so pretty. They're just such a delicate blue, that steel blue. You're gonna like them. You will also need some 20 gauge wire in the color you would prefer. Okay, I'm going to change that statement. In a silver or silver tone, because your moon components are silver. This is artistic wire. And for my tools, I will be using a curved nose plier, a needle nose plier, a chain nose plier, and wire cutters. I will also be using oval jump rings. I like the oval because of where the cut is located on it. It makes it harder to pull apart in the finished piece. And if you've watched this before or watched me before, you know that I buy my oval jump rings on Amazon. It comes in a 4-pack size, and there is not any labeling at all. So I'm using the third size up from the smallest. So this is the way I'm going to lay out the bracelet. I have to tell you that in the end product, I took the components, the star components, out of the middle so that all 3 of my moons would be on the top of my wrist. You'll have to judge that for yourself. Now, I'm not sure how you pronounce this, but I'm going to say it's Testors, and it is metal paints. I picked these up at my local Hobby Lobby, but you can get any metal paints to use as long as it's for metal and not something else. So for the moon, I'm going to be using the silver. And then for the star, I decided to use a bluish teal. I only had to put one coat on it, but I let it dry for a couple of hours. In fact, some of them overnight. So, but what I picked was the paints that washed up with water. You can get them that you have to use, I think it's turpentine to clean the brushes. But I just got the one that worked with water. When you get the paints and open them, it'll be separated. So make sure you put the lid back on it, shake it real well, and then I took a toothpick and stirred it till it was really blended before I started painting. That's a real important step. So here we go. When I was using the silver or the blue, either one, I took and I put quite a bit on my brush so that it puddled, and then I very gently drew the puddle down on the metal so that I didn't get brush strokes or not as many brush strokes. If you put too little on, you'll get brush strokes. If you go over it after you put the first coat on before it's completely dried, the paint will lift up. So puddle and just barely bring it down so you don't get any brush strokes. And make sure you bring that paint all the way to the edge, even slightly over the edge, because if you don't, when the paint dries, it will shrink a little bit, and then you get this kind of funny edge to it. You have plenty of these connectors if you got the Bargain Bead Box to practice on. I'm going to go ahead and do all the silver that I have left. That way I can clean my brush real good and put the lid on the silver so it doesn't dry out, and then prep the teal. So put a kind of a large dollop in the center of the star. Well, there's nothing large about these teeny little stars, but put more in the middle of the star and then drag it out to the points. Would you take a moment and like and leave a comment for this video? It really helps me with the algorithm. Thank you so much. I have to tell you, I played around quite a bit with the connecting components. I had never really done a bracelet like this before, mostly working beads, and I didn't want it to be so big that the moon and star got lost. So here I'm showing you the white stars, and I have put teal rondelles, very small, 3 millimeters, on either side of it. Because when I put the little check glass moons, blue stars, it was really just too big. And even doing it this way, I had to cut down a lot. I have a little 7.5, never mind the point, and wrist, and I just have to be real careful how many components I get, or you just lose the overall look. But I make it for other people. I usually aim for 7 to 8.5 so they can adjust to let it fit the way they want it to fit. So you just saw that I used my looper to make the loop on the end of the wire. I cut quite a large piece of wire when I'm doing these, and then when I put it in the looper, I put one end of it on and make my loop and close it, and then I will put the whole piece of wire through the little hole in the looper whenever I'm through to make the loop on the other end. Okay, so now we're ready to put our beads on. I will start with my 3mm rondelle, then I will put the white star from the Bargain Bead Box, and then a 3mm rondelle. I tried it with just the stars so I could snug up the beads closer, but I didn't like the way the star lay on the wire, so that's why I added the little rondelles. When you add the rondelles to this component, it really snugs up nicely and brings out the blue in that frosted star. I just think that's so pretty. So now that we've got our beads on, we're going to take the end of the wire. There's a little hole in the looper, and you're going to put your wire through that little hole, snugging those beads up against the other side so that they butt right up against the looper. Then you're going to mash, and it will cut your wire and make a beautiful little loop. You can also do this by putting the wire across your finger, clipping it at the top away from the beads so that you have a finger's width of wire, and then turning the wire down with your needle nose pliers. Now when you're finished, make sure that your loops are both facing the same way. Remember I told you I played with this design quite a bit? Here are two pictures of what I settled with. I joined the moons in the middle with oval jump rings, and then I put two of these star components on either end of our central piece, and then I added a extension chain on it so that you could make it various sizes. So we will need to make a total of 4 of these star components to make the bracelet. So let's go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you on the other side. I will be using oval jump rings to join all the parts together, and I will be using it in the second largest of the ones I have. Remember, I got these off Amazon, so it doesn't really tell me what it is. Just choose the jump rings that you like best. So once you get your bracelet laid out the way you like it, it's just a matter of taking your jump ring between 2 pliers, twisting, not pulling, to open it up, and then putting your components together. So again, take your pliers, hold your jump ring in it, then you're going to take your second set of pliers, and holding the jump ring in 2 sets, twist one of your hands away from you. This will open your jump ring, put your component on, and then twist back with the same hand towards you, making sure that the jump ring closes. So just continue this until following your pattern until you come to the end. Then make sure and measure it. I know you've measured, but you have to take into consideration the jump rings. So measure it, make any adjustments if it's too big or too small, and then you will be ready to put on your closure. And there you have it. This is the final piece. You will see in the right hand corner my lobster claw and my extension chain. I will put those on either end with my jump rings, and this piece will be completed. I will put pictures at the end. Thank you so much for joining me today on this beading adventure. I've had a lot of fun making this painted moon bracelet. I hope you find components you can use these painting techniques with as well. And I had a lot of fun, believe it or not, trying to decide how I wanted this bracelet to lay. Sometimes it's just like that. It takes a while for you to settle on a final design, and that's okay. Give yourself some grace and enjoy the process. Have a happy beading day. Kathryn, Circle Art Designs.